yeah, but also, yeah, because it's a small session, so we kind of want it to be more interactive. So feel free to, on your cameras and just ask any questions if you guys have. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, so wanted to ask also, like, how do you get started into Web3?
So I haven't been around that long. So a lot of my colleagues, they've been around from like 2014, 2017. So they've been in crypto for like really, really quite a long period of time. But I only bought my first amount of crypto in, I think it's in like July, August 2020. So it's roughly the whole like COVID crash and the whole like large V-shaped recovery. That was when I like got in. So back at that time, that was also when I graduated. So I was looking for basically assets that I could invest in. Uh, I so like my family is like extremely traditional, so like I grew up kind of like believing in like value investing and stuff like that. So that was like actually my whole initial plan at first. Um, but when the whole COVID crash happened and the really, really quick recovery as well as the money printing, and I was looking at the like price to sales multiples, the price to earnings multiples of like various tech companies that I wanted to actually invest in, I realized that they're all trading at like 50 times like price to sales, like 100 times price to sales. Then and I was like, okay, like there isn't anywhere I could put my money. So a friend recommended, why not I take a look at crypto. So I read about Bitcoin, read about Ethereum. Then I got really interested in the different like use cases and different like applications that were building on Ethereum in particular at that time. So at that time, it was also DeFi summer. So it was the first like run of a lot of DeFi protocols like Uniswap, SushiSwap, and like a bunch of other rugs which I have like lost a lot of money in. But yeah, so that was basically like the whole like main like it was like the main like boom of DeFi at the time. So and I really resonated with the whole like I guess like the mission which DeFi was trying to achieve. So I got really interested and I started to spend a lot of time like reading about crypto and understanding it. Yeah.
I see, I see. So so that was how kind of got exposed to crypto, I
Yeah.
would say, through DeFi Summer and getting rug pulls.
Yeah. Yeah. There were like
So
so many projects at that time that were like and DeFi Summer was like the first time I actually like I was also really new to crypto and I was
yeah,
seeing like coins go up like 40-50% a day, which we obviously don't see as much now. We see the reverse instead. But yeah, like back then it was like really like crazy, like things could like 10 to 100x in like 1 to 2 months kind of thing. Yeah, but they could also like very well like go from like drop like 99% in a week. So it's an interesting time.
I see. So like with that, how do you kind of decide to make the leap to kind of Web3 as a career? I mean, from just doing like Web3 on a side personally too.
Yeah, so I started off like purely like for the money. So I was like purely investing like and also like reading about like crypto and trying to understand the space better. And after I would say like after about like 6 months, so it took me quite a while to like fully understand the space, like purely because like I don't have a like tech background. So like the whole like blockchain stuff was like really confusing. And even though it was only like even though it's like less than 2 years ago, back then like there weren't as many resources. Like like basically if you wanted to kind of like learn more about crypto, you were reading white papers, yeah, or watching like random like YouTubers which were like 100 times smaller back then than they are today. Yeah, even though it's like less than 2 years. So like it was really difficult to understand the space. So I took about like 6 months before I really like I guess like found my way around and everything and really understood it. And then I started to realize that like while I do enjoy like making money, I really felt like a strong interest in understanding about the different applications of like crypto blockchain in general. So I started to spend a lot of my time like reading and listening to like podcasts. So like as what I was mentioned earlier, I used to work at Shopee. So I would do my normal like day job, and then when I'm at home, I'll be like reading different like protocols, listening to like different podcasts. So I was basically like working like kind of like working two jobs, like just that one was my full-time job, the other one was like my own like hobby, which almost as good as became like a full-time job. Then one day I was like okay, I'm spending so much time reading and learning. Why not like I kind of like merge the two and make like my hobby kind of like my full-time job. So but back then I didn't know if there were non-technical roles available in crypto, because the space is like even now the space is like relatively young for a lot of the different segments in crypto. And because of that, in my head I kind of thought that the space will only hire devs, which kind of makes sense because, like, for example, like why would you need a BD person, or why would you need someone in marketing if you barely even have a product or have any like real traction. So I didn't know that there were like non-technical roles open. So my whole like grand plan was to work for maybe like 1 more year, try and like accumulate enough money to justify quitting for about 1 or 2 years and start my own like crypto newsletter. So yeah, so like yeah, so
I see. Wow.
yeah, like that was like my whole like grand plan. Like purely because I was spending like so much time reading and learning, right? That I realized that if someone could just like summarize all this for me, like a weekly recap or something, that'd be really nice. But like no one was really doing like very good like summarized like content for crypto. So that was like my whole grand plan. But I didn't want to actually start it while working at Shopee, purely because I didn't want to commit to something that I wasn't confident of like producing really high quality work. And yeah, so like doing that, I would kind of like have to compromise on something. I would probably either come up with a really shitty newsletter or be really shitty at my day job, which I didn't want to do. Yeah, so that was my plan. But what I realized that I could do was I could still like share whatever I learned over on Twitter in a more like informal, like shorter manner, and try to build an audience there, and launch the newsletter further down the line. So I started writing on Twitter. Uh, so okay, so I think for me, like my whole like journey from like not working into the space to working in the space went like really, really quickly from the moment I decided to actually like do it. So I might not be like the best like example, but so like what happened for me was started writing on Twitter. I was basically just like sharing my ideas and responding to like tweets from like larger accounts, like just to share my own like thoughts. And one day, uh, I responded to someone from A16Z, which is a large VC, and she quoted my tweet and then like shared it. Then that tweet did like decently well back then. So I think back then I only had like 80 followers or something. Yeah, and then and I was like really a small account, but that tweet had a lot of engagement. And there were a lot of other people that responded under that tweet. And I reached out to a few of them just to like say hi, ask like questions and stuff. And one of them actually founded a like a really small DAO back then. It's called like Scribe DAO. I'm not sure if it still exists today.
The
Probably
family one.
yeah.
I see.
Basically what the DAO did was summarize content, crypto content, which I found it funny because that was like what I wanted to do. I wanted to like create a summarized like crypto newsletter anyway. I was like, oh cool. So I volunteered to help out, help them with like community management, community growth for a while. Also did a lot of like summaries for them, posted on Twitter. That helped me like grow my account and like gain traction as well. Uh, and one day I happened to just stumble upon the job opening for my current role. Then and that's when I applied. So if I recall correctly, I applied like on a Friday. Monday they reached out to me, and on that week itself I had three interviews, and then the week after I wrote an article for them, and then I got offered like the following week. So it was like, yeah, so it was like really expedited. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And from the time I started writing on Twitter to the time I got offered, it was maybe only like 3 months or like 4 months. So I think mine was like a really like expedited journey, but that's like the rough like overall like view of how I went from like Shopee into Nansen.
Very interesting journey. So it was like a no-brainer in a sense, like you just straight away took, or were there like some consideration, like do you think like consider some certain things before you like jump into a career Web3?
For me, it was like pretty much like a no-brainer, I guess, because like my initial plan was to be like was to kind of be jobless. So like
I see.
yeah, so like for me, like I knew I wanted to like work in the space or at least contribute in some way, shape, or form. I just didn't I just didn't know how exactly I could do that and make money. But then after working in the space for a while, I realized that there's like a million jobs and there's a million roles available, and like a lot of firms are like hiring aggressively. So yeah, it's like pretty interesting to realize all that.
I see. So as you move from, let's say, your job in Shopee as a BD to your current role now, would you say like are there some transferable skills, or are all those skills that you are doing your job now, whatever you picked up during your own time?
So I would say there's quite a bit of transferable skills. So my role at Shopee, I did quite a bit of like data analysis.
Mm,
Not like super like high level like Python everything, but it was like really basic Python and really basic SQL. And I also got really comfortable with like data sets and like numbers in general, and like getting insights from them. So that was like the main transferable skill. So like when I look at numbers or when I look at like a graph or chart, I'm not like fully lost. That was like the main transferable skill, I guess. And also like the soft skills like communication and stuff. Those are always important. But the large bulk of my like day job now, so it's like reading about like different things in crypto and writing about them. Those are like picked up on my own. So like while writing on Twitter, for example. So those were like kind of like, I won't say like self-taught, since like everyone can write, right? So yeah,
mm.
but it's more like they were like kind of like developed and like grown while I was like trying to learn more about the space. Yeah.
See. Okay, so how about like other than say transferable skills, like what are some differences between working at your previous company versus like now? So maybe the team, the environment, or the way you work and things. What's the difference between working Web2 versus like Web3?
I think the biggest difference is the age of the people. Yeah. So
Mm,
oh, and also like general culture and general what's that term? General kind of like I guess like the people you work with, they are all in crypto because they want to be in crypto. So you get a very different like energetic vibe compared to like a Web2 job, for example, where a lot of people are there just to like work a 9 to 5 and go home, that kind of thing.
mm,
So those are the key differences. So like in terms of like culture and like age, so Shopee is a really like young and youthful company. I think average age in like the BD team is like 28 or something. So like even then it was like super young already, but in crypto it takes it to like a whole new level. I've met people that are like 20 years old that are working in like large funds and stuff like that, like 18 years old, 19 years old, like doing like insane things. Yeah, so like I think crypto is the one area where I would say levels the playing field a lot in terms of like background and opportunities available.
mm,
While Web2 is like quite gated, right? So like for example, you need to come from a good school, do well in school, get good internships, and then that only translates into a good Web2 job. But in crypto, like no one cares that much about your like paper qualifications. People care more about what you have actually done. So like for example, if you have a really strong like a GitHub library of the past projects you have done, or you have a strong like Medium account, strong Twitter account, like basically like if you have proof of work, then people care about you. Yeah, versus like whatever like paper qualifications that you have. And because of that, that leads to like opportunities for people at a much younger age. Yeah. So that's like one large difference. And the culture, I would say like Web2 Web2, or at least like I feel that even in like startups in like Web2, it will always be a bit more like hierarchical. Yeah, like, and people are a bit more like serious. But in Web3, what you see over on Twitter is basically what you get when you work in Web3, or at least like that has been my experience so far. So like we start off every meeting with like GM, that kind of thing. So yeah, so it's like yeah, what we see on Twitter is exactly how it's like in crypto. Yeah, and people like you get a bunch of like really smart people, but yet they don't take themselves super seriously. So that's always like a nice thing, and people are excited to come to work every day. So yeah, those are the main
mm.
few differences.
Interesting. And I think for like most of us here are quite interested, like do you have any tips like that you give to anyone who's looking to I would say get a career in Web3?
Yeah, so I think there are like two ways. The first way is like the Web2 way, which still works like purely because I mean so like the Web2 way to me would be like you come from a really good school and really strong like qualifications, like you ex JP Morgan, ex McKinsey, no one's gonna say no to you, yeah, that kind of thing. So like if you have those kind of qualifications, then you can like pretty much like walk into anywhere, like regardless like Web2, Web3, Web4 maybe, you know, like if you have those kind of qualifications, then you can still do it that way because no one's gonna say no to like some of the smartest people in the world. Yeah, but if you don't fall under that category, then there's like the more like crypto native way, which I would recommend to a lot of people. Like even if you have a stack like resume, so like I would still recommend that. So um the crypto native way would be like to have proof of work. So let's say you are a developer, actually like write code and do like projects and have like a GitHub like whole like library of like stuff that you have done as like proof that you know how to code in like Rust or like Solidity, for example. And then if you're non-technical, one really easy way is just like writing. Yeah, writing a lot. So I would recommend starting Twitter purely because that's the easiest to grow. You can like write on Twitter, just share your thoughts in like long form threads, like and then if you want to write even longer stuff, you can write on Medium. So basically like prove that you know about crypto even though you have never worked a day in crypto. Yeah, and I feel that the space is still young enough that that is still possible, because like imagine like 5-10 years down the road, when if there are like degrees about like crypto, or like the people who are trying to get to JP Morgan or like McKinsey today want to come into crypto, they're going to compete with those kind of people. It's going to be a whole different like ball game. Yeah, so like while the space is still relatively new and a lot of people haven't found the like standard path to get in yet, I would say like just contributing to the space, like writing or like, yeah. So I think that's like the easiest way. Yeah, I think like another way is like can join a DAO, but that might not be like a really great experience for a lot of people, because DAOs are basically these kind of groups of like-minded individuals trying to like do something. So it can be quite messy. So yeah, and the easiest way is really you just write stuff, because you can do that in your own time, that you don't have to work with anyone technically. You can just like pick like maybe like write one article a month or something, and like start to build like a portfolio of your work.
I see, I see. You mentioned a lot about like say like writing or starting a Twitter thread and all these kind
Yeah.
of things. I mean I think for many people who are looking to get started, it might be quite overwhelming, this number of
Yeah.
projects and everything, and how do you start to write and everything? Do you have any like advice on that?
Yeah, so I would say like don't jump into it. So I would say just um find your way around like crypto first. Like understand everything enough to know what you like and what you don't like, and areas that you are particularly interested in, or areas that you have an edge in over someone else. So like for example, I I this might not be actually true, but I personally think that I have an edge when it comes to evaluating like gaming projects, purely because of the hours I spent playing games when I was like growing up. Yeah, so like that is my own like personal like edge. So if I were to start again, and I would be writing a lot on like gaming projects, evaluating the game and the token models, for example, or like breaking down like the whole like gaming X like blockchain narrative and the whole idea, something like that. So understand the space enough to find out where your interests lie, and become like a subject matter expert in that one particular area, or a one particular ecosystem, for example. So um if this session was like a month ago, the ecosystem I would recommend people to yeah, because yeah, like it's pretty much like time sensitive when you give recommendations in crypto. So like this was a month ago, the ecosystem I would recommend people to write about if they want to grow a following is actually Terra, purely because of how like crazy the followers are, and it's a lot easier to gain traction when the ecosystem itself has a lot of has a strong following and a very loud audience. Then you can build a following really, really fast. So, but since now Terra no longer exists, yeah, so I would recommend just like pick any ecosystem or any like crypto vertical, like it can be DeFi, for example, or NFTs. Now just pick an area that you're interested in and you don't mind reading a lot about and writing a lot about, then start building from there and start to like build your audience and prove that you know your stuff.
I see, but is it like, so I mean, even so, if you break it down verticals or ecosystems
Yeah.
and everything, there's still so many. So typically how should someone get started? Like, like following some like Twitter accounts or watching YouTube videos or
Yeah.
if
So
any
if you are a complete beginner, or even if not like complete beginner, but like you would classify yourself as relatively new to the space, like if you're still at the stage where you don't have enough knowledge to figure that out yet, I recommend like following Darren Lau. Yeah. Yeah, I was supposed to actually meet him for lunch today,
Oh,
but
really?
I decided not to go to office. So I was like, I recommend like following like Darren Lau. He started this like Notion page and also like Telegram chat called the Daily Eight, where he basically posts, where he aggregates top quality threads, news, and events every day for free on Telegram. And he also like indexes everything in a Notion document. So for example, right, you want to learn about like about Avalanche, for example, you go to his Notion page, you search for Avalanche, and then you read like the top like the top few like posts about it. Then that gives you like enough like understanding of like Avalanche. Then you can like go from there. But if you are really like complete beginner, right, I would recommend let me just search it out. Recommend this particular website. One second, let me send it over. Yeah, so this was a DAO that I was also supposed to like contribute to like back then, but I was helping out with like Scribe DAO, and then I had my full-time job, so I didn't have time. Then the next thing I knew, they like launched their product and then they were doing really well. So I was like, oh, like really happy for them. And so basically, Odyssey DAO, what they do is they write like beginner-friendly content about like Web3. So you can learn about NFTs, DeFi, DAOs, basically anything like basic that you want to know about like crypto, you can like read it from there. Yeah, so I recommend following Darren Lau, subscribe to his Telegram channel, and Odyssey DAO if you're a complete beginner. Yeah.
I see. Okay. Someone. Yeah, I think I have one more question, but it's in my mind. Cannot remember now. So maybe you can just move on to. Oh yeah, I wanted to ask, like, based on your current, experience and everything. I think because so many people are like, writing Twitter threads and everything on daily basis, right? Do you see any gaps or opportunities or anything that are still lacking in the market?
Yeah, I still think there's a lack of summarized content. Yeah, like I really still think there's a lack.
Is
So
it?
like
Yeah.
yeah, like so okay, so like the Daily 8 has like, I don't know how many followers do they have now, like maybe 30K, 40K. Like there's like this is like bear market things, man. Yeah, so yeah, so like the Daily 8 has like 50K subscribers. So 50K people subscribe to a Telegram chat that aggregates like news. He doesn't summarize them, he just copies the link and then aggregates them daily. So imagine if someone summarizes them. Like I would assume that the number of people interested in summarized content would easily be like 5x that of people who just want links. Yeah, so like
True.
yeah, so like he has 50K, you can probably get 250K if you do summarized versions of the Daily 8. Yeah,
Any
so
particular verticals or areas?
uh yeah, so if you do content summary, you probably have to do like the entire crypto, which is the difficult part. Yeah, but okay, like in terms of like writing, let's say like pick a vertical. I wouldn't do DeFi purely because DeFi has been dead for like really long. Like in terms of like price wise, and like when it's not doing well price wise, there's like a general drop in people's interest. Yeah, but then again, I could be like wrong as well, because like there's this DeFi writer
DeFi age.
Yeah, DeFi age. He started like 2 months, then he went from like 0 to 60K followers in 2 months. Never seen anything quite like it. So yeah, but okay, personally, I wouldn't pick DeFi. I'll probably like NFTs or gaming seem like pretty interesting for like general interest, and those seem to gain traction like decently well. But looking at what like DeFi age has achieved, like 0 to 60K in 2 months, yeah, if you still want to do DeFi, you can still do DeFi. Yeah, so I would say it's really like flexible. You just write whatever you want to write about, whatever things you're interested in. Yeah, so yeah, in terms of gaps, yeah, I really still think summarized content is the biggest gap. Because there's okay, like 2 years ago, like any content itself was a gap. Crypto really didn't have like, a lot of content. Like fast forward now, there's like so much content, but no one has the time to like read everything. Yeah, so I think summarized content has like a large gap.
Looking forward to yours then. Okay, maybe now we can move on to the Q&A session then, since it's about 15 minutes left. Yeah, so I think Farhan asked a question. Is there a big four in the crypto space that would generally be recommended to join or attempt to?
Oh,
So for example, like CoinMarketCap.
big four in the crypto space. I would say VCs are pretty much like the big four in the crypto space. Like purely just like how much funding they have, they cannot die basically. So okay, but VCs are notoriously difficult to get in, or at least like traditional VCs. Like getting to A16Z is like insanely difficult. But if you look at more like crypto native funds, right, like Spartan Capital, Delphi, yeah, those are more crypto native, so your resume matters less. So like I know Spartan just yesterday hired a former intern from Nansen. She's only 18. Yeah, they hired her as their research analyst. So I would say like crypto native VCs are one group of like safe like companies. The other group I would say are exchanges. So yeah, I know Curve works for one. Yeah, I would say exchanges are like pretty safe if they are large exchanges, because I personally do think we have my own take is that there'll be a consolidation in exchanges, because even if you look at trading volume, right, you are already seeing that like FTX, Binance, Coinbase are like the top three. Everyone else is like way below. So I would say like join an exchange is like pretty safe as well. But if you want to be even safer, like joining Binance or Coinbase would be the two safer, or FTX would be the three safest options. VCs, exchanges, everything else is pretty much like the Wild Wild West. So yeah, they're not like big four iron rice bowl type standard. So I think only like VCs or exchanges would be the two safer options.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, so Steve also asked like what about non-gaming, non-NFT real life cases in the Web3 space? Yeah, sorry Steve, I don't get your question.
Supply chain projects, I know VeChain. So I haven't looked into them in a really, really long time, like purely because I sold my tokens, so I stopped looking at them. But yeah, there are a few like supply chain projects. The only issue with like writing about these more niche verticals is that the audience is smaller. So that is something like you have to consider if you are actively trying to build an audience. So while you should write, while you should make your content specialized and niche in the sense of like becoming a subject matter expert, if you pick a vertical that's too small and too niche at this point in time, it's very difficult to like grow an audience. So while those are definitely like interesting use cases, and I do think blockchain itself has really like strong applications towards like supply chain and logistics in general, I think it would be much harder to grow an audience if you go to those really small segments. Yeah.
Thanks, Martin, for the answer. So other than non-gaming, I mean, other than gaming and NFT, right? What other than crypto in general or DeFi in general, is there any other space that you think that still makes sense to participate in? And I think my problem is because I'm probably the most senior in the room right now. If Elena is not around, maybe I'm maybe Elena is even I'm probably older than her as well, you know. But the thing is what interests me more is more like the B2B stuff, the more real life stuff and so on. And I just cannot wrap my head around it on community building, right? Because these are like the more old age, I want to say old age, but it's I don't know, is it really the old age? Like I give an example, right? I was actually asked a project regarding about SDAX, and it's related to real estates. They actually did some blockchain and behind it. Kind of also, you know, if you ask me, it can be part of Web3 in that sense. So like those kind of projects, right? And they are backed by very serious money, very, very serious, like the guys of like, you know, ARA and stuff like that. It's, but you know, then the question is, it's not trendy, it's not hype-ish enough and so on. So, and given my lack of experience in this field, so would love to know, like, based on what you have seen so far, like this kind of like non-gaming, non-NFT, non-crypto, non-DeFi, right? Got any chance to get hot or not in that sense? Yeah.
In terms of building an audience, I think it will be really difficult. But in terms of working there, so because okay, so like something that's more B2B, right? Would typically also be less crypto native, like purely by nature of what they're trying to do. Because like if you're crypto native, you typically will be more like B2C. And because it's kind of odd to have like a decentralized B2B type structure. So just like going by the train of thought, right? More B2B companies will be also more like be more traditional in that sense. And because of that, if you want to work there, right, you actually probably don't need to have like a crypto, like a Web3 type resume. You can probably, like, in fact, you probably like would do better if you have a normal like resume in those type of firms. So for those type of firms, I actually don't think you, like, if you want to work there, at least you might not need to write about them. But if you still want to build an audience by writing about this type of like companies, right? So I think the difficulty is that because it's B2B, so like let's say I'm just a like normal person and I read your article about a B2B company, right? If they are not listed and if they don't have a token, and because they're B2B, so I can't use the product, then like why would I read that particular article when there's no way for me to participate in that particular like company? So writing articles might not make that much sense unless there's a way for like normal people to participate in that company. Yeah, but I guess also the advantage is that I feel that they're a bit more traditional. So you can, if you want to work there, I think you might not need to like build a crypto native resume to work there.
Thanks. Because actually not many people know, like Temasek themselves, they actually created this blockchain pod, right? Yeah. And Anthony Lewis, he's also a big guy in crypto landscape as well. And on top of blockchain pod, they actually have like companies like Lemma Tree, and which has subsidiaries all in what Trustana and FNAD and so on. And all these are pretty boring to the you know, B2C communities in that's why. But when you kind of like look at opportunities with them, right, they will say, oh, need to have 1-2 years of crypto experience and so on, yeah, or blockchain experience, and and then to me it doesn't gel up, right? So because yeah, it just don't gel up. It seems like you need to be B2C crypto blockchain first, then after that, then you try to go to this kind of opportunities or something like that.
Yeah, and that's like a really great example of why they are very traditional. Yeah, like no, like so like I would say like maybe even like 70-80% of the people working at Nansen, Nansen is their first like crypto job. I would say like 70-80%. And I know like I have like friends that work at like I have a friend that works at Spartan. Spartan Capital is the best like performing crypto fund in Asia. And yet Spartan is his first crypto job. And he wasn't former IB or former consulting, he was a lawyer. So he has no investment background, no actual like crypto job background, but he still got in. So yeah, so like yeah, you're probably right though, that if you want to work in like a B2B crypto company, you might need to go B2C first, get the experience on your resume, because that's just how the hiring process is like in a B2B crypto company. Yeah.
Thanks. Yeah, I have a lot of questions, but I think I ask you separately.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, you
Yeah.
can reach out to me on like LinkedIn or like something. Yeah, I'm
Thanks.
available. Like, yeah.
Okay, I think we have one more question from Sarah. So I think we should join a bit late. So she was asking, what are your roles and responsibilities as a data journalist?
Yeah, so day to day I write like articles for Nansen. So but my articles come from slightly more like content marketing type approach. So I'm not like doing like really detailed breakdowns of like a DeFi protocol, for example. Mine is more like let's say Nansen is integrating Solana into our dashboards. I'll write about like a general overview of Solana and showcase our dashboard. So that's like one part of my like day job. The other part of my like job is I'm the point of contact if like journalists have any questions or any on-chain data related requests. So like for example, if like yeah, good example was like the Wall Street Journal's post about NFTs flatlining. So when Wall Street Journal posted that and they quoted, can't remember which NFT analytics platform, but the data was like very bad, very off. So I had a lot of questions from like CoinDesk, like Bloomberg, like they were all asking like, is that data accurate? And if we have any data to like prove that Wall Street Journal is like wrong, basically. So I look at our dashboards and then provide them like codes or insights if they need any. Yeah.
So must be very well. I mean, very familiar with using the Nansen platform.
Yeah.
Any tips on how to
use the platform?
Yeah.
So when you use Nansen, we always joke that users have to pay twice. So one is the subscription cost, one is the time and effort required to learn how to use the platform. I would say watch Office Hours. So Office Hours is our weekly YouTube kind of like podcast interview where our CEO chats with various like guests, and then he basically showcases how they use the platform, or how he uses the platform. So that's one way you can learn how to use the platform. And another way is also, just spend a lot of time clicking around, like going through the various dashboards and finding your own like workflow, I guess.
Okay, cool. I think since we're almost near to 9:45, I'll just end off with one last question. So from Steve, he asked, what does Nansen AI do exactly, and what are your views on Web3 infra companies?
Yeah, so Nansen is a blockchain analytics like software as a service company. So we are a blockchain analytics platform where users can basically look at on-chain data similar to like Etherscan, but the difference is our platform, we not only have Etherscan type data, we aggregate data, we make it like 100 times more like beautiful UI UX wise, and like the main USP of the product is we do wallet labeling. So if you go on Etherscan now, 99% of the wallets are just the alphanumeric codes that you see. So when you look at it, you don't know who that person is or like what type of wallet or what type of profile that wallet is. But on Nansen, we label over, I think, 100 million wallets by now. So these wallets are all labeled. And we don't like, we don't dox individuals. So we like categorize them and we profile them. So for example, we see a particular wallet that has large NFT trading volume, for example, and they have been making insane like gains. We tag their wallet as a smart NFT trader, for example. So when you look at our platform, you will see the name like smart NFT trader, and then that gives you like a deeper insight onto what that wallet actually does. Instead of like you look on Etherscan now, all you see is alphanumeric number, and then you have no real like insight there. Yeah, so that's basically what my company does. And my views on the Web3 infra companies. Web3 infra companies are probably like the easiest thing to invest in, because it's like when there's a gold rush, you don't like buy gold, you buy the picks and shovels. That's like the easy thing to do. Yeah, so Web3 infra companies are probably like easy thing to invest, and they'll probably do really well. The only issue is that like which ones will do really well, and also the consolidation phase, right? So like exchanges are also like probably like I would classify as a Web3 infrastructure company type thing. Yeah. Now there's probably like 100 million exchanges or something. I don't know. There's like so many exchanges, but like if you look at traditional markets, right? Markets don't support that many exchanges. Yeah, and trading fees always tend to zero. So like how many exchanges can you like actually support in the long run? Not many probably. Yeah, and also like volume liquidity is really important for an exchange. So it just doesn't make sense. Yeah. So, but I think infrastructure companies or like crypto native infrastructure companies like layer ones, layer twos, oracles, yeah, stuff like that. I'm quite interested in, but the difficulty is finding the right ones.
Okay, I think since we have overshot the time, maybe we'll just end off for today. But if there's any question, they can reach out to you on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, or like Twitter, whichever is like easier for you guys. I'm much more active on Twitter, so yeah, but LinkedIn is fine.
Okay. I'll drop your links in the chat then after this. Yeah, but thank you everyone for attending this session. And I think it's been a very, very interesting session. I learned a lot myself as well. So thank you a lot for taking the time, Martin, for this call.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, no problem. If y'all have any questions or like you're too shy to ask now, y'all can just like drop me a DM like on like Twitter, LinkedIn, whichever works. Yeah.
Okay. Right, then I'll end the call for today. Thank you.